Peter, thank you for allowing me into your studio.
My pleasure.
I think the best place to start in trying to describe this journey is, I suppose, with the original intention, which is how far a man will go sometimes to get the right birthday present. Tell me a bit about the original globe idea for your dad and how it turned into this amazing business.
So I'm sure I'm no different to many, many people out there who have struggled to get their father a present over the years. And so I thought to myself, I needed to get something good for his upcoming 80th birthday. I just thought that I have to go beyond ties, go beyond alcohol, and so I thought I'd get him a globe. And I looked around and I looked in map stores and wasn't really happy that that was the way I wanted to commemorate an 80th birthday. Looked in, went to auctions, and they're just crazy money, and you can tell every time you spin them another piece will come flying off. And apart from anything, they're out of date, and my father would definitely not have agreed with me purchasing him an out of date anything. So I thought I would just make one, and I literally gave myself 3 months, a few £1,000s, and I thought, how difficult can it be? They made these 400 years ago. I thought I'd be able to knock it out in a couple of months.
And what you discovered, as you said, there's amazing history in this book, but it's like a lost art form. So you basically had to relearn how to do everything from scratch, but with no training, of course, in a lot of these areas. Even something I would have thought that's very simple, like casting a sphere shape to make a start on things, was incredibly difficult.
Yeah, I was learning every aspect of it. I was learning how to cast from scratch. I was learning Adobe Illustrator, which is about as counter non-intuitive as you can possibly imagine a computer program to be. The woodwork I kind of was getting involved, but not. I knew I would always get people to help me with woodwork, because there are lots of people who are a lot better at woodwork than I will ever be. But yeah, the whole learning process of learning to put a flat piece of paper onto a sphere. You've got to remember at the outset, I genuinely had no idea how globes were made. So I didn't know they were using flat paper. I didn't know whether there was some random curvature style printing press that I'd not heard of that was hidden in some Globemakers studio somewhere. I had no idea.
It very quickly became apparent that this was going to almost by necessity become a business rather than just simply a gift for your father. So with this the knowledge that you're accruing, you're sort of making this more viable. But I'm sort of taking a look around the studio, you can see these, as you say, these flat pieces of paper which are then cut into these very recognizable shapes, the gauze that go on to make the globes themselves. And then the process of applying those to the globe itself becomes incredibly complicated. The paper has to be wet in order to stretch, and then it can rip. You must have been tearing your hair out at each stage of this and in learning how to actually get map on globe.
I mean, as I stated in the book, I would go to the local dump every couple of weeks and throw away, I don't know, 6 to 8 globes that I'd worked on the previous week. I didn't necessarily say it in the book that sometimes I would throw them with extra volume. It was incredibly frustrating because on the one hand, I suppose I should feel proud of the fact that I did this without any help. But on the other hand, there was no one else I could go to anyway. There literally was no one on the planet making globes. There are a few companies out there who obviously make commercial globes, and they obviously have their secrets, and they sure as wouldn't tell me. But the way I wanted to do it was so bespoke, and to such a degree there was no one going to be able to train me to that level, because I think we are at a level now that is unbelievably high.
Right, sort of walking around, you can see everybody very silently and very incredible focus with what they're doing. So there's this sort of artisanal aspect to it, but it's also incredibly bespoke. So the people who are purchasing these globes have their own input into what the globe will look like, so that there are different colours and different ways of presenting things.
So everyone will be able to adapt the globe exactly as they want. They will add illustrations, personalizations on that might tell their life story. They might, it certainly would tell their traveling life story, and it becomes a really amazing object for them to own, and something that they can talk about with their family. The bespokeness of the whole process is so rare in any product you buy these days. We will have people send us a line drawing, and we will create a new base for them based on a drawing they've done in 5 minutes. We have a rule: don't say no.
Okay.
So when someone asks for something, we almost always say yes, because it's fun being involved in new designs, and it shows the creativity of the team here as well.
There are many processes that are involved in making one of these incredible globes, but is there a sort of a part of that process that you love above all others?
I genuinely really love the cartography, the digital part of it, but the thing that probably gives me the most pleasure is putting on that final gore on the globe, the 12th or the 24th gore that you put on the globe just to finish it off, and suddenly what was a sphere becomes a world, and that's the point. You've got to sort of stand back 2 paces and you see what you've achieved.
You mentioned that, of course, it took much longer for you to create that first globe than you expected. Did your dad ever get his birthday present?
He obviously, at that stage of the game, I had a few financial pressures, so I did have to sell a few before he did get his. So he got it for his 83rd birthday.
Okay, so only 3 years later than expected.
Yeah.
Okay.
And no more than a year later than the first person.
Okay. Was he appreciative?
I'd give it 3 out of 10.
Okay. Well, listen, I'm hugely appreciative. It's amazing to see the finished products, but actually almost more amazing to see the incredible work that's going on around us in this studio to make it happen. And it really sort of a testament to your tenacity in finding out how to make it work, and their artistic skills in carrying it on to this day. So thank you so much for letting me in, Peter. It's great.
Pleasure.